Hey, this is Sanja. I just got off the podcast Resilient Minds with Eric Balance, and we talked about a lot of things, including crypto, spirituality, how to find your purpose. So go and check it out now.
Welcome, everybody, to the Resilient Minds podcast. I'm super excited to be here with a dear friend, Sanja. And, it's always nice to connect with you. It's always a blessing to have, exchange brilliant words with you. But today is special because we get to really kind of dive a little bit deeper and focus in on all the amazing things that COVID has brought to your life, all the amazing things that you've been doing. But before we go there, do you want to just share a little bit about what it is that you're inspired to be doing right now in the world, and how excited you are about what's moving forward with you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's always great to connect. So I'm speaking to you today from Italy, but I've spent the last year between London, Portugal. I lived in the mountains as well for 6 months and recently relocated to Milan. So for me, the past year and a half was actually a blessing. I had the opportunity to live in nature, similar to you. Spent a lot of time in Portugal in a small city called Braga, and then in the Italian Dolomites as well. So it was really exciting. And now it's sort of, an adjustment to be back in a bigger city. So I need to find my dimension again.
I love it. And a little bit about what you've been doing with regards to, your businesses right now, because I know that you were the CEO of a company and then you ended up changing over and you had employees. Tell me a little bit about how that has been affected and what it is specifically that you and your company are doing right now to evolve during COVID times, or how that's affected your career in the way that you work, in the way that you lead.
I'm currently the CEO of a blockchain-based payments company, Utrust. Prior to that, as you know, my career has been different. So I was in the corporate industry, working for PayPal, eBay, Vodafone, and basically what happened in 2018. I went to work for PayPal, and I was kind of really surprised by seeing in the traditional payments industry how difficult it was to provide transparent pricing to customers. And I really wanted to introduce this layer of blockchain into payments. Long story short, it was too soon to do it in Europe. So I went to work for this growing startup in blockchain, and today I'm the CEO. So for us, I think COVID has been a blessing as well, in a way, because people who were not shopping before online, now they're doing so more and more. And I think, that's a kind of behavior that will stay, even if we go back to the old life, people appreciate the convenience of buying online and therefore using more online payment methods. And also, thanks for Elon Musk, Tesla, other companies like MicroStrategy, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are viewed as more safe, investment opportunities, and also better payment methods for buyers and merchants. So for us, it was a great time in terms of adoption, but of course it was an adjustment to, have the team completely remote. That was quite difficult at the beginning.
I love it. So Ethereum's been I was looking at Ethereum the other day. I was like, yes, amazing. Keep going up. I love it. So I'm really happy. I got in really early with Ethereum, so I'm really excited about that. So, because I kind of missed my chance with Bitcoin, but maybe not. I still have Bitcoin, but it's still gonna grow. I know that. So
it's still early days. I think it's still early days.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Exactly. So listen, I want to, and I'm really excited about be having this topic, and we can talk about crypto because I'm definitely a student of it, and I'm certain there's people on here that are gonna be listening that are gonna get super curious about some of the crypto game, and it's nice that you know and you know your stuff about it. So we'll get into that. But before we do, I'd love to know a little bit about how has your experience shifted? Because I always talk about the resilient minds and how important it is to like, you know, it's not necessarily push through, but like allow yourself through all of the like stories, the bullshit, the experiences that we need to like go through to really contribute to our big purpose, our why, our like and how it just like so funny. Like, you know, in hindsight, it's always like, wow, like I was totally guided, right? Like to where I am today. And you could like have this like observer point of view. And I did ayahuasca like 2 days ago. And I was in this place where like I could totally see everything in my life that had happened has guided me to where I am today. Like almost like a helping hand, just like slowly like pushing me. And I believe that those are experiences that like really define our initiatives, create our knowledge, but overcome and deliver the wisdom that we need to kind of provide our life on purpose. So, is there things, are there like defining key elements that you've been through in your life where you've been able to like now see that, like, as a result of these experiences, these X factors in your life, they've been able to contribute to this big why and what you do today?
Yeah, it's funny that you're mentioning ayahuasca because I did it as well. I think it was late 2018. And
Mm.
until then, you know, I was always very spiritual, but in theory. So until then, like I didn't know like the depth of what we don't know.
Oh,
And for me as well, that was a defining moment to see. I was like, wow, I only see like such a small piece of what it is, without, you know, going into the details. That gave me really the strength to say, you know, there's so much more that I don't know, and I am guided. So whatever I do, it's not going to be a failure because I'm going to learn from that. And I feel that really, you know, there's something that guides me along the way. And also how some things in my life unfolded, like the way I met my husband, the way I started working for this company. It was really like an accident, but for me it's like, okay, something guided me to there. So definitely, yeah, ayahuasca for me was as well a turning moment. And of course our mutual friend Tony Robbins. So, you know, when I started going to his events, for me it was really finding people that understanding we are all the same.
yeah,
And I have great friends in life, but, you know, not necessarily with your friends you talk about certain things. And then when you find yourself in that kind of environment with, you know, really spiritual people and people who are doing the work, you understand like we all have the same fears.
yeah.
And, you know, when talking to other CEOs, the main fear is like, oh, they're gonna discover I'm a fraud. I have no clue what I'm doing. So if everyone has that fear, you know, it means that we're all the same, we're all enough, and we're just all human beings.
I love that. And you know, it's interesting that you're talking about like the fear of like not being enough, because that's something I find that has been very like I've taught myself so much of that in the past. Like today I feel like super happy and excited about where I'm at, like right? But like in the past I had this fear of never like always needing to prove myself, right? Needing to prove myself, needing to like show up and like teach myself to prove my to myself. And I remember literally and I think I just shared this online too. I shared that, you know, when I signed up for Tony Robbins Platinum, I couldn't afford it. Like I was scared, and I didn't feel worthy to even be there. You know, amongst these like game changing individuals that are like doing things out the world. And in fact, every time that I would have a conversation with people, I almost felt like I didn't deserve to be speaking to them. And it's so fascinating because these these like, and this was all stories in my mind, like my level of worth, you know, my bank account compared to theirs, and just comparison, and like all these things in all our lives, like all our lives, you know, we compare ourselves to other people, you know, not recognizing the value of who we are, of how we be, of how we can show up, and what we can create in the world. Because creativity is what is the king, is like the king and queen in our brains. And this lack of worthiness for me was so important to understand, that, you know, through the investment or the experience, or like all of these like circumstances that come our way, that's where you start to like recognize your own worth, because you're willing to just show up, right? Like having enough courage to just show up. So when you're in this world, you know, you're dealing with CEOs, and you know, you're showing up in the business world, and you know, being around these spiritual leaders like we did, you know, with Tony Robbins, and everybody like wanting to make themselves, not make themselves, but learn about themselves and how amazing they truly are. Because I don't believe we need to make ourselves better. I believe that we already are better. We just need to like understand that. When you understood everybody's like the community for you was really powerful and excited, and you know, all wanted the same thing, what were you able to take pieces from that and bring back now to your own business, or like to your company that, you know, that you're the CEO? And like what were key identifications that really allowed you to take away from that and say, listen, like this is what we need to do in the culture, the way we serve, and the way we can add value to the world?
Yeah, there are a lot of actually things that I brought into the business. The first one is like the ego versus serving. And that's the main one that I actually brought as the first one, which is, you know, if you go in a business and it's just about me, and look at me and how much I contribute, and, you know, how much am I significant, that's not going to bring a change. And you're not actually a leader. And a leader is someone that, you know, wants to serve. So every day I really wake up and I go into my calls, in my meetings, thinking about what can I do better? How can I serve this person or this situation in a way that it's good for the collective, not for myself? And in the past, I think I was always trying to show something to myself and to others in the way that I was brought up. For example, I was born in Sarajevo, so I have, you know, origin in Bosnia and Croatia, and women are respected, but they're not the ones who are, you know, able to have a great career, or not most of them. So for me, like in my past years, it was always about, oh, now I'm showing them, you know, I'm showing my dad that I can do
Improving,
this.
like,
Yeah, like, but actually, like, how is that serving me? It's not serving me. Like, and how can I serve the business in a way that I help people? And it's not about me anymore. And actually, when I did that shift, my career started to shift as well, because, you know, more opportunities came, more money, more connections, more everything. Because when people really see that you want to help, and you're trying to make an impact for something larger than you, they will appreciate you more. And it's interesting, you know, what you were saying about feeling that you're enough for this or that. So yes, I always worked like in big corporations, but the people that I had, and I think, you know, the universe puts you in front of what you need to see. So somehow in my life, I was always surrounded by people who were brought up in really rich families where everything was available to them in a better way than I did. So I always felt in those conversations that I was not good enough. And I always felt scared, you know, of saying my word and comparing myself to these people. But actually today, like what I understand, also thanks to Tony and the community, is that because of what I went through and because of the experiences I had and, you know, the family I had, that makes me today the way I am, like more hungry for doing things, hungry for life, for creating my own path. So yeah, I think it's those two things, ego versus serving, and also learning that maybe some things you went through life are actually serving your greatest purpose.
I think, and I love that ego versus serving. I think that, you know, when we're service leaders, it definitely impacts so much more, and we can allow ourselves to come to ourselves, because first we got to serve ourselves, right? We got to serve like this, like initiative of like who we are, understand ourselves, and as a result of like filling our own cup, then we can start like serving others in a powerful way. In my, that's my belief. What do you think?
No, definitely. Like I start my day as well with my morning routine, because if I'm not in a good mood, if I'm not taking care of myself, I cannot give, or I can give, but that's not going to be my 100%. So for me, you know, my morning, and I guess for you as well, is really important. I spend it in,
Absolutely.
yeah, in gratitude, in like journaling, in whatever, listening to nice music, and that puts me in a different mindset, so then I'm able to give to others, definitely.
Absolutely. Even though yesterday, like I honestly, I think I slept like after like, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 hours, and I'm still tired. Like, you know, like you still feel it in your body, like your body's exhausted, you know, and just deflated. But, you know, this was my fifth ayahuasca, and this was the most powerful one that I've ever experienced and the deepest I've ever gone.
Oh, wow.
And I literally was in like lotus position. I didn't move for 10 hours. Like I didn't move. I was totally in a different planet. It was really beautiful to like experience that depth of the ability and what the power of our mind overcomes with our bodies. Because so often we think that we are our bodies, or we think that we are our minds. But when we realize that we're neither, and we can actually completely lift off and go to a different place and just observe and watch and appreciate and receive, wow,
Yeah.
that becomes like
What was your main takeaway from this one?
uh the biggest that we are like like I literally became a star. So I became such an observer of it all, and understanding that all of the creativity is literally in my hands. So whether I, you know, want to bring people together, I want to create a project, or I want to execute something, the ability for me to stay in my heart and really compassionately help and guide people together is there. I can manifest anything, and all of us can, you know. But understanding that literally that there is nothing in this planet that I cannot do, as long as I stay focused on love and my breath, right? Because
Yeah.
that was really important, recognizing the compassionate part of having a human body, right? Like there's a point there where like you're like, wow, I have a body, thank God, like thank you, you know. So that conscious development, you know, for me has been like super important as I go deeper. But let's focus now on like, I really would love to understand a little bit more about crypto. Like, since that's like, you know, the topic of like everything that's going on right now in the world, at least, you know, in my realm of like, I'm just really curious about it. And, you know, people are thinking they're getting in too late with, you know, if I'm getting a 0.02% of a coin in Bitcoin, like, wow, that's what's the point? You know, or, you know, getting Ethereum right now, you know, oh, it's just, you know, it's going to go down. Like, is there, and maybe there's other coins that people need to like start getting into, because there's other cryptos that are out there that nobody knows about that are like super cheap, and like, you know, that it could be the optimal time, right? Like, so what are your some of your suggestions, just based off of like a, you know, a high level, if somebody is like totally new to the crypto game, what do you feel it would be something that would be completely added value for them to really understand what they could do, like first steps?
Yeah, for sure. No, first of all, it's still early stages, you know. So I always hear some people saying like it's too late for me for Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think, you know, it's still early stages. And obviously, I can't give financial advice, but what I can say is it's always good to have a diversified portfolio. There are companies and wallets that offer, a really good onboarding experience, such as, Coinbase wallet, for example. If you register as a new user, even if you don't know anything about crypto, they will, let you watch videos about, what is crypto, what is this cryptocurrency, what is that other cryptocurrency. So you can progressively learn. And you can also win some crypto by completing your videos. So I think, that's a nice way to enter. What I always say to my friends is, whatever you do, you can there are thousands cryptocurrencies. I would always invest part of my portfolio still in Bitcoin and Ethereum, for two separate reasons. So I see Bitcoin as a reserve of value. So I see it, in the future more. Of course, it's used for payments as well, for more larger transactions. But I see it as, the reserve of value of the future for companies as well, for institutions. And, what can reassure people is that companies like Tesla, like MicroStrategy, are investing large part of their assets in Bitcoin as well, as a reserve of value. So it's always a great investment. How I see Ethereum, which is the other largest, let's say, cryptocurrency, is the protocol on which DeFi will be built, so decentralized finance. And DeFi is like so new, and it's an industry that is booming now. And like now is your time to really go into DeFi. There are so many, free resources online where you can learn. And Ethereum is being used as the main protocol to build on top. So I think, that's what I would do if I was a new person entering in the space. Definitely would invest a bit in Bitcoin, a bit in Ethereum, and then would probably research the DeFi space to understand all of the amazing projects that are being built today. So yeah, as I said, Bitcoin, I see it more as a store of value. I would always recommend to invest, part of your portfolio in Bitcoin. Of course, only invest what you can lose. Not a financial advice. And then Ethereum is different, because Ethereum is the main protocol on which decentralized finance applications are being built. And basically, the idea of DeFi is let's disintermediate all the banks, like all the lending providers, all the insurance providers, and let it be peer-to-peer. And this is an industry that literally is being born now. So it's something that, if I was someone interested, I would be watching very closely now, because everything is built now. And every week I read a lot, and every week I'm like, wow, this new project emerged, this new project emerged. And because the Ethereum blockchain is the protocol on which DeFi is being built on predominantly, I would definitely allocate part of my portfolio there if I was new to the space. And then I would look as well into DeFi and what are the projects that are more interesting for me as an investor. But I see, investing in crypto is similar to investing in the stock market. It's important that, you look at the company and the people behind it. Does this, serve a purpose? Does it make sense? Who are the people that created this company? What is their background? But definitely Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would always allocate a good part of my portfolio. And then there are also stable cryptocurrencies. So what that means is that they're, backed by a stable fiat currency like the dollar, for example. So the biggest one is called Tether, USDT. And if you want to have a bit of reassurance about volatility, because crypto can be volatile, you can also allocate part of your investment in a stable currency. And you can put it in, there are many apps today. I cannot share which one I use, but there are many apps that let you stake those stable coins and earn rewards. So you can, earn up to 10% or more on that value you're staking. So it's a very nice way to diversify your portfolio in a safer way. So to avoid that volatility and also have that nice earnings on top. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was new to the space.
And what about like new coins, or like, the and you mentioned, I think briefly, you're like, oh, let's maybe look into it and like get to know about what's behind the company. Um, because now there's, you just said like I heard you said thousands of different currencies, right? And so, I mean, it's really important to do like our homework. I remember, and like, this is nothing against anybody that, is interested in Ripple or XRP, but I remember reading up on it and then learning things about it that just didn't resonate with me, right? And because of that, I was not going to like put any of my funds into it. And it was fascinating because I was going to do it not knowingly, but my friend's like an amazing crypto investor, and he's like, just read it on it and let me know if you still want to do it. And then when I read up on it, I was like, okay, I get it, right? So it's so funny how important that is, just to like read, a little bit behind the scenes of what really their initiatives are, and where they've been and where they're going. So
No, definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what I would add on top of that is, differently from the stock market, where you cannot actually talk to the CEO of PayPal if you're a small investor, crypto is amazing because really, like, by using Telegram, you can join, each project has a Telegram channel probably, and you can join discussions, and probably, if you ping the CEO, they will reply, or someone in the team. Or, for the majority of people that write me on LinkedIn, I always try to reply, or someone in my team will reply, because that community part is really important. Because, we're talking about small investors, which are really important for a crypto project. So it's easier, if you want to really get in touch with the company. That's how I started to work in this space, because I saw the project and I was like, oh, this white paper is nice. Let me just write a message to the founder. And we met for coffee and we started working together. And 1 year later, I'm the CEO of a company as well. So so it's also, if you're looking for a new job opportunity, now we recruit people through Twitter, because, someone really smart is going to comment on our posts. And that's how you recruit people today. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's a new industry. It's very easy to enter. Of course, it's easy to lose money if you're not careful. But if you want to interact with companies, if you want to work for companies, you can do that. You can find, a part-time gig in a blockchain project. And that's why I love it as well, because it's so easy.
And I think that's the beauty of these, like what's going on right now with these like circumstances that people are feeling victim to. It's fascinating how, and Tony says this, winter is coming, be the gladiator, right? Like, we've got this. And I feel like really it's so true, like, it's so important that, like, when winter is here, that we, like, we talked, I think, at the beginning of COVID, when I was still in Australia. I remember I was doing a little training for your team, and it was like the beginning, right? We were talking about mindset and just like belief systems and like let's go. And it was really beautiful because, like, all of that, like, and where we are today, like all that transition, all those gifts, all these like circumstances that we could so easily fall victim to. And now having these opportunities with crypto that can change your financial and fiscal strategy for the rest of your entire freaking life, and generational wealth. And people are like, I'm scared. Like, where do you think that people need to like step a little bit more into the infinite possibility side of things, rather than always stepping into this like, wow, I don't believe it, or having this like negative perspective on something that they don't know nothing about. Like you know what I mean? And I'm sure that you've had people that are like I've heard people say like, you know, Bitcoin's terrible or this is stupid or, you know, just like unconsciously saying things that they're just not fully aware of. How do you respond to things like that? And what would you say to somebody that says,
Yeah, that's a great question. I think is, I would do a step back in terms of like, I think in general, people or the majority of people in the world, and that was me in my 20s, think that wealth is created if I earn a nice, income and salary from my job, and that's secure, and that makes me secure for life, and that's fine. But that's not how wealth is created. And you're not wealthy because you're always depending on your job, depending on your income. You're not saving. So I think the first layer is like really that resistance for people to invest their money strategically, because there is this fear that I will actually lose money. But then if you look, and for Bitcoin is the same, like I will go into that, but for example, if you look at the stock market in the last 30 years, yes, there were times when the market was going down, but like overall through years, and that's what Tony is teaching as well, like overall, if you look, the return is like between 7 and 8%. So, you can look at historic data that actually will prove you wrong, that, investments are not to be made because it's scary. I think Bitcoin is the same, and people have this resistance without even going into the phase of like, let me look into this, let me study the fundamentals, like, let me understand what is it. But people buy into a lot of like media or online discussions, or I'm trying to not say things that are controversial, but banks might be
okay, we don't
against
mind.
banks might be against cryptocurrency because that's challenging their incumbent status. Not anymore, because now banks are doing their own CBDCs, central banks digital currencies. But because of that, what people see in mainstream media, which is changing, is Bitcoin is bad, is used to buy pornography and arms and guns. But if you start studying the fundamentals, you will understand that actually it makes sense. And for me, the main thing is everyone can participate equally. Like, I can be in whatever country in the world. If I have a device and the internet connection, I can participate in the global economy. And like, I can have, equal rights versus other companies. Many fintech companies in the traditional world, they say like, oh, we are all about financial inclusion. But where is that financial inclusion if you're not even allowing people to create like their own portfolio and use your service? So I think that's the first thing for me. Like, this was created for financial inclusion, like for people to be able to participate equally in the global economy. And it's decentralized. There's no government. There's no one, there's no single entity issuing the money. So who do you trust more? Like the government and the bank, or an algorithm protocol technology? So, if you study, it will make sense. You will be like, wow, this really makes sense.
It
And
really does.
today, yeah, today people are trusting governments, banks, which is, I'm not saying that's not correct, but, look at all the money that's being printed today, like, and all the inflation. Do you want to put your trust 100% there? Or maybe like there's something else which uses actually a decentralized system that you can trust better. So that's the shift I think that people need to make.
And I think that that's so important, recognizing too how, like, there's a reason why so much is falling apart right now, right? Like there's a reason so much is um shifting. There's a reason people are starting to like ask more better questions. They're getting better answers. And you got to ask yourself the question is like, are you willing to, stay on, the status quo, or are you going to start asking difficult questions that may come up with difficult answers, but also at least this way you have the audacity or the at least the knowledge to make a discernment that fits you and your family's needs the best way possible. And I think that right now, like this is the biggest opportunity to create absolute generational wealth like ever with crypto, and it's exciting because it can be something that you can set up your grandchildren's grandchildren up, if you take the steps necessary and get past like a fear that you've had because you just haven't seen it before. Do you like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. What I'm seeing, like a lot of my friends doing now, is they had their first child or second child. So they're opening an account where they're putting some Bitcoin and Ethereums. And they're like, okay, this is going to stay here for 18 years and this is going to be for my kid. And I think that's brilliant. And that's what, how would I do that? Because for me, it's not about the short-term gain, which of course you can achieve and you can, you can trade and buy and sell, but it's an investment, as you say, for your family. And it's something, to be looked at in the long term. Definitely.
Absolutely. So, going back now, you're in Italy, and what's next for you? Like, what's going on? Like, what's exciting? What's shifting? Is Italy crazy right now? Like, tell me a little bit about like the COVID situation down there, and how's it going there? Like, are they like telling you to run around and with the mask on, or like what's happening? Tell me.
It's getting better, but still, like I was talking to my husband yesterday that in the past year, because we lived in the mountains like for 7 months, and prior to that we lived in a small city in Portugal in the nature. We are back here, but it's like, okay, now it doesn't make us happy anymore. And I think now with remote work, you can really work from anywhere. So what I think, is the next step for me and for us as a family is to spend half of our time in Portugal and half in the mountains. And, why not? And today you can absolutely do that. If there's no reason for you to be in a big city that is different. So yeah, it's yesterday we were talking about that and planning, and for me that's really exciting because finally I can really choose where to live. I'm not dependent on one place. I can wake up and look at nature, which for me is super important. So of course I still think, remote only companies, it's really tough. Like, I really appreciate seeing my team every couple of months doing something together. I think it helps with bonding. But why not? Like, you can work as you're doing as well. You can work anywhere and wherever you want. So that's what makes me excited about, the next few months.
I love it. And so yeah, so when you go to Portugal, I want to come visit. Like, I want to come check out Portugal. I've been, I was telling you before we got on and hit record, I'm brushing up on my Portuguese, so we'll have to like fala português, like
Oh
it'll be
yeah,
a lot of fun.
should definitely come. You should definitely come to Portugal. There's also a nice place that does retreats with ayahuasca and San Pedro and other plant medicines, which is amazing.
Amazing. I'm really excited to like just, yeah. I'm curious, you know, how long have you and your husband been married now for?
So we only married in October last year, but yeah, we've been together for 4 years.
Any children any planning on children on the way?
Not yet, but maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
If it happens, I think we will be very happy.
amazing. I'm super excited. So tell me this. I have a last question for you because I always want to ask this because I think it's super important. if you had 3 days left to live, what would you do?
Oh, wow. I love this question. You know, I recently lost someone in my family, and with this person, like we were really close. And I realized in the last 4 years, I was seeing this person once per year. And I don't want to make that mistake again with my mom. So I think, you know, if it was my last 3 days, I want to spend it with my mom and my husband and, you know, with people I really love. Because you never know how much time you have left. And then you're going to regret it. And I think you can be the most successful person in the world, like earn so much money, whatever, you know, be successful. But I think that that would be the only thing I would do. Like I would just spend time with my mom and my husband and maybe a few close friends and people I love, and maybe in a very nice place in the mountains. But it doesn't even matter. Like I would spend time with them, just with them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's always so nice to realize how important family is, right? It doesn't matter how many times I've asked that question to any thought leader that I've interviewed. And I think it's been like 90 now. Every single question, every single answer is family. So
Yeah.
super profound, and it's super nice to hear that regularly. Because that really is the feeling of connection that we all need to have is within our families. So, Sanja, this was amazing. I'm really grateful and excited and thankful for your time, your energy, your brilliance. I just really honor you, and I really appreciate you, my Platt sister. You know, it's so nice. Like I literally remember the first day we met in London, and just stayed connected. You know, for years now. It's been beautiful, and just being able to like watch us grow, you know, and connect and just be there for people and support each other and just like, hey, what's up? And like allowing that friendship to stay cultivated and together, you know, always. I just really thankful for your friendship, your love, your brilliance. And if you do have anything that you want to share.
No, it's like likewise. It's been amazing to see your growth and your development since we met the first time, and the impact you're making, and you know the life and the freedom you found for yourself. That's really beautiful. I really admire you.
Likewise, I appreciate you. Until next time, we'll see you later. Okay. And much love.